Hi, I hope you are having a wonderful day because today it's getting a little bit dark in here. So as you can see, I've digged through debug and found some gravestones and other things that would fit a funeral home, which is what we are building today. And this home has a little secret. It has the outline of a dead body somewhere. And it's your job to find that outline. So I'm going to be hiding that somewhere in the build. And in the end of the build, in the screenshots, you're going to see if you can find it. And if you do, comment down below, found it. Okay? So we have started to build the shell of the house. And it's a bit of a weird shell with some little nooks and crannies all over the place and 2 towers. And it's only level 1 and level 2 of the towers that is going to be livable areas. The other are just for decorations. And this is the entryway that we are building right now. So this is where you are going to get into the funeral home, because this is where you come when your loved ones has passed away and you need someone to help you with the funeral. So the family that lives here runs the funeral in town, and they will help you, and they will host the funeral, and they will also build a casket. So they have a little shop in the woodworking shop in the house where they build the caskets. And that's why they are having all of this wood laying around on the ground right now. They are going to be placed in that room. And as we get inside and we start to do the layout, it will change a bit, as you will notice. But it comes around in quite a good way. So the lower level will mostly be the funeral section. And the second level will be where the family lives. Except for the kitchen. The kitchen part is downstairs, because I was thinking they might want to do some refreshments, or maybe get a cup of tea or so for the customers or the clients, if you will. When they're in there and they're in grief, they might need something warm to make them feel a bit comfortable. So right now we are doing the backyard, and this is where I'm going to place a little bit of a cemetery. So in the corner of the backyard we will have a cemetery. It's not a big one, but there are some graves there, and I was thinking that it was the graves of the previous owners of this funeral home, and also the relatives of the ones living there now. So here is where I start to place out those graves. And in this little corner we are going to fence the whole yard in, and I will also be fencing the graveyard in with a small fence and make it a little place to come and grieve. And I wanted to have some lights over there, so I brought in these debug lights and placed them in the fence, so it looks like they were coming up out of the fence, and I thought it looked kind of cool. And now we are going to find a gate that fits so that they can get in, because I was thinking that maybe other people, the clients or so, needs to come in and look at the gravestones and so in the background, so that they can see what kind of gravestone they would want. Is it a big stone, or a small stone, or a white, grey, black, whatever. And so they have some examples in the back, so they could watch the ones there. And this is now where we start to figure out how to lay it out. So I was thinking about having a little toilet in the end of the small room, but that is going to change, and we're going to make that into the office instead, where the clients can come and sit and tell them what kind of funeral they want, what kind of flowers, and what kind of songs they would like, and so on. And it's also where the computer is, so that you can write it down and so you remember it. And this is the kitchen area. I was first thinking that it was going to be an open area because I was not expecting the downstairs to just be for clients, but that's what it ends up being. But when I thought that this was going to be family area as well, I brought in these archways because I wanted it to be a bit more open into this area. But as the time goes by and I realized that there will mostly be clients in the downstairs, I wanted to shut down the kitchen so that it's just for the family, so they can shut the doors if there are clients there and they want to have dinner and so on. So they can shut the doors then. So that's what I'm going to do a bit later. Here's where I put all this wood in this little room. So this is going to be the room where they work on the caskins. And it's a family heritage. So the father's dad used to be the one who owned this house before, and he worked with funerals as well, so he taught up his son to do caskins, and now they are well known all over town for making the most gorgeous caskins around. I wanted it to be light and bright on the outside so that the customers could find their way in, even if it's pitch dark and in the middle of the winter. So I put up a lot of little lights going along the walkways so that they could find their way in. And now we're starting to do some landscaping, and this is something I'm going to show you a part of. So I will show you when I first started to decorate it. I was thinking, let's just make some sort of border around the house that looks semi-neat, not like they are out there doing a lot of yard work all the time, but keeping up with it. But then I sort of changed my mind, and after lining out this whole area with some flowers and some fern and some grass, I changed my mind, and I almost totally fill in the place with grass and different sort of bushes and so on, so that it looks a bit unkept and wild growing. So you will see me doing this now. So this is what we ended up with. And in this little area where they keep it neat in the front, I'm going to put some pillars where you could put, after the funeral, it's usual to display the flowers that have been used on the funeral. So that's what it's going to be in the front there. That's why I kept one area well kept, so that they could come there and look at the flowers and put them all on a display there after the funeral. So fencing in the little area and making the graves look like they have actually been dug up at some point. And then I'm going to make a little pathway, and I will be decorating some of them with flowers, because some of them I was thinking that, they might not have been relatives that they know for a long time, so that they don't keep up with those graves as much as the other ones who has recently died. So some of them have planted flowers in front of them, and some of them haven't. I was thinking of using these red ones, but they are going to get switched out for some more neutral ones, because when I looked at it after I placed the other flowers, I was thinking that they screamed out a little bit too loud, so I switched them for these ones. And the little black car I was thinking was the van that they brought the caskins out to the churches. It would probably have to be bigger in real life, but we don't have that many cars to choose from in Debug, so it is what it is. This is where I place the garbage cans, just so you could hide them away, and then I make it a little bit overgrown over there as well. It's not as overgrown in the backyard. There are some areas where there grows a lot of flowers and bushes and so on, but the areas around the pathways, they keep up because that's where the clients come in and walk around. So this area is also going to be a little area where you have a lot of greeneries growing around. And I will also be placing in some places to sit so that the clients can come and have a moment of grief or sit down and think about what they want for their dear ones after they have been inside and gotten to know all the alternatives. So I thought these little black benches worked really well for that. And these are the pillars I talked about that I put in the front, and I will also be displaying 2 flower arrangements that I thought could fit for a funeral, and I was thinking that it were some flowers that had been used on a funeral just a day or so ago. So I will be placing those on top of the pillars in a moment, just making some more paths to go down to the little benches, and also I'm going to put some flowers in between them to make it a bit more natural or good looking. And I wanted to fill in this corner but because I thought it looked kind of bland over there. So that's what I did, and then filling out with some dirt underneath it to make it look a bit more alive and natural. So after we have finished outlining the pathways, we are done with the backyard. That's the whole thing. And then we are going to fetch those flowers I talked about before heading inside of the house. So these are kind of big flower arrangement, and I thought that maybe this is something you could see in front of a casket at a funeral. And so that's why I put them there. And otherwise you put things on the ground as well. If there are more flowers that you had in front of the casket in the church, you would display them there too, all around these pillars, so that you could see them all. So heading inside, working in the room where they work, so to say. So this is the place, as I told you, where they make the caskets, and they are also displaying some of the caskets in there, so you could head on in there and take a look at them and choose which one is the one you want for your loved one. And of course they are in different price ranges, so it's one that's very simple, it's just a box, and one that's in between there, and one that is very, very nice with a lot of patterns and so on it, that would probably cost a lot. And now we are heading into the reception area where the clients can sit and wait for you to take care of them. And it's just a simple little way with some couches, and we are going to make a little area in this tower. So you can see now where we are going to place some clothing racks and so on, and a little ottoman to sit on when you put your shoes on, or if you feel fainted or so. So you can sit down for a while. And then I was thinking about adding some flowers on the floor, but I thought that it didn't fit the style in here, so instead I opted for the ones you hang on the wall. And I thought it looked nice. We're also going to paint the walls red, and it's going to clash a little bit with the sofas downstairs, but I really love those sofas, so I think it works. It's not the best match, but the sofas are just what I wanted, so they'll have to stay. Later I tried to tone them down a bit by adding black pillows in there to make it look like they would tone down a little bit more. I was thinking this portrait in the middle is one of the previous owners of the funeral, so he is hung up, the one that founded this funeral home, and so they hung up his portrait, and it's still hanging on for dear life on the wall as the family continues running this establishment. And in this corner we are going to be displaying a lot of different flowers you could choose from to have on the funeral. And so right now there's flowers there that are going to be used at a funeral. So this is where they put them while waiting for the funeral to start. So maybe the funeral is tomorrow, and now it's on display here. So if you come here today, you could see what other people has ordered for their funeral, and you could pick and choose for your own. So that was what I was thinking with this little display corner. I don't think that they are making the flowers on their own. I think they are ordering them from a flower shop in town that they work together with, and they come here and deliver the flowers, and they put them here, and customers can look at them whilst they wait and see what is up for grabs. So it's sort of a good way for the flower shop to do some advertising for themselves at the funeral home, and maybe the flower shops advertises for the funeral home at their little shop, so they work together. Heading back to the room where the caskets is made, didn't finish it totally. So jumping a bit forward and backwards in this build between the rooms, and trying to do one at a time, but downstairs I was struggling to find what I was going to do with all the rooms at first. But I had an idea of what I wanted, but since I changed my mind with the little toilet being an office instead and so on, it didn't totally fit with what I thought as first. That's why I had to change the windows outside as well. But it worked out well in the end, but because of course you have to have an office. Where else are you going to take notes of everything the clients want and have a nice little moment to sit and chat with them and talk about their wishes and their loved ones and who they were and so on, and write down what the priest should say about the person at the funeral. Who were they? What did they like to do? And so on. So this is the office where they sit down and do that, and it's not the biggest office, but I think that if there are more people that are going to be in there, they can drag out another chair, or maybe they sit outside in the other room and you can take notes by hand, and then you could write them in on the computer later. And of course you have to have some Kleenex, because people will be crying, right? They are sad at the funeral home. So I was thinking that this is a good build to do right now, because, you know, the new pack is coming out in not too long, and you're supposed to be able to be the Grim. So maybe you need a funeral home if you are reaping a lot of lives, and you need to be able to bury them as well. So this might come in handy, you know. So it's up on the gallery if you want to download it. My name there is just HelenSimmar, so you could use it if you want to. It's the same name as I have here on YouTube. So we're off to the kitchen part. So the only area downstairs really that is the family's own area. And I wanted to keep the colors quite dark in most of the house actually. It will be getting a little bit brighter upstairs. But I'm keeping with the theme of red, black and brown. So they are the main colors of this build. Just putting out some little knickknacks to decorate the kitchen, and that's when I found these pillows that I had forgotten. We got in another little login event. It was, forgot the name of it. So now we have another event going on, the Grim Reaper event. It's like, I don't know what I think about this event actually. I'm doing it, and I have picked up all of the things as far, even caught the angelfish. It went kind of fast actually. I was anticipating it to take a lot of time to find the angelfish and actually catch it. But it went faster than I thought. So I went to the area behind the library in Willow Creek, and I had good luck, and I caught it on the third go, I think. Talked over the whole kitchen, but we are just putting in a little cabinet, and then we are heading upstairs. So you might think that it looks a bit weird that this little area is closed off in this tower, but I wanted to make it a little extra spare room that is hidden, because I thought that maybe they needed to get away, but because this is going to be the main bedroom with the bookcase entrance into this, so I thought that maybe the man of the house wanted to get away sometimes and just be on his own, since I would say that he has quite a hard job. I wouldn't want that job. See a lot of people in grief, and a lot of dead people actually. So maybe they wanted their little own area to do some skill building and just relaxing. So you're going to see that later, what I put in there. But this is the living room. It's quite a big living room. So we have a little seating area by the window, and we also have a sofa and a chair that's in front of a big TV, I would say, actually. And I also wanted them to have some music to listen to, so I put in this gramophone, and then I wanted some greeneries in here, and of course a bookcase so you could sit and read, and some lovely paintings on the wall we will add as well. And I use sconces in some of the rooms in this house because I thought it fitted the vibe of the house. And here we are hanging up the paintings. And so I wanted to go for these kind of old looking paintings because I was thinking that some of the furniture was inherited from previous owners. So they've hung up these paintings quite a while ago. So that's why they don't just look old, they are old. And heading on to the little hallway, and there's nothing special in the hallway. There is just this little table I decorate and some paintings and a rug on the floor. And then I'm going to put these flowers on the other side of the railing, as you just saw, because I wanted some greenery behind there, but I didn't want to close it off with the wall, so I just wanted this railing there, and you could put some flowers in there. I actually don't know how you would be able to place them there in real life. You would have to be rather tall, or just hang them up and dump them over in some way, and it would probably be really hard work to actually water the plants. But it's The Sims, so we don't have to worry about that. I just thought it looked cool. And we are now heading into the main bedroom, and I thought this bed from Realm of Magic was gorgeous, but I can rarely use it because it's very big, and it doesn't fit in most bedrooms, with the canopy and this whole glass roof over the bed. But it's stunningly beautiful. So I thought that I had a chance, and I thought that in this room it actually fits. So that's why I put it in there. And then I skipped over the toilets. So they are already done now, and they have the same aesthetic as the one downstairs, with the same floors, the same walls, and the same orange on the towels and the black appliances and so on. So they look the same, and you will see them in the end at the screenshots. So you will see the pictures of them, but it's so repetitive to watch someone do like 4 bathrooms, so that's why we skipped it. And we are now in the teenager's bedroom, and it's quite an adult bedroom for a teenager. So I was thinking that this teenager was at the end of the teenage years, so they were getting like to be a grown-up, and was maybe learning the work that the father is providing as well, to maybe take over the business themselves in a while when the father wants to retire. But I put some board games on the floor, and some other little things that still made it look like a teenager's room. So the paintings and so on made it look like someone a bit younger is living in this room. And then we are going to head into the last room, and this is a little kid's room, and this is mostly green and brown. And I don't love these curtains, but in this room I actually do, because they fit so well with the board on the wallpaper. It's exact same green color, and then I found this mat with the same green color as well in the bottom, so I loved it. And this is the end of the house. It's the last room. So in the screenshot, will you find where the dead body is lined out? So don't forget to comment if you do. Found it in the comments if you find the outline of the dead body. The last little room, forgot this one. Of course, we have this one left. Told you we were going to see what was in there later, and now we do. So a little skill building room, just some guitar and some painting and some reading, and a cozy little chair to cozy up in. And that's what's in this room actually, and also a little teapot so you can sit and drink a little cup of tea. So that's a little cozy room for the owners to relax and just close the door behind them when they feel like they've had a hard day and they just want to be alone and have some peace and quiet. So do you remember what were you supposed to do? You were supposed to comment down below. Found it, right?